Check. What is up? How are we doing today? Let this all go live. I'm so happy it's actually let me go live. We actually got to get this going on Instagram as well. So we're going to let some people come on in and let this thing stop popping. What's up? Good morning. We're going to start doing these at 7 a.m., by the way. 7 a.m., 6:30 to 7 a.m., somewhere around that time. I'm not going to be too exact with it. Know what I'm saying? But I do want to make sure that we are getting you guys this value. Let me actually, I would love to move this. Yeah, I would love to move this here. Yeah, that way I can see my TikTok people. What up, my TikTok people? My TikTok peeps. Put this here. Yeah, there we go. Good. I figured out how to use my monitor properly now. But all right, I wanted to talk to you guys today about how to actually make time for your fitness, because I train a lot of people who are pretty busy people, like people who are, parents, people who have very busy jobs, people who are working 12, 14-hour days, and they're trying to figure out how to make it work. And so this is stuff I do a lot for my clients, and I wanted to go ahead and drop some value for you guys to help you guys learn how to make this work, because you always have time, guys. Hold on. Oh yeah, got them allergies rocking and popping. All right, hold on. Let me get Instagram set up because I don't want them to lose value here either. 7-4. All right, cool. We added the title. We're going live. We're live on all platforms. Finally, we got it rocking, dude. You have no idea how much trouble I've been through trying to do that. Last week, it told me I couldn't even go live on TikTok, which was crazy. I always go live on TikTok. So anyways, I wanted to go ahead and do this live stream mainly because I want to teach you guys how to make time for your fitness. And we're going to be doing more live streams as well. We're going to be doing live streams around 7 a.m.-ish because, again, typically this is the time of day where a lot of the type of people I typically train are getting ready for their day anyways. And so I want to be there to start your day on the right foot, right? And starting this off and kicking that off as far as that routine, I wanted definitely to talk about how we need to be making time for our fitness, right? There is a very big disconnect for a lot of people because, again, a lot of the people I train are very busy people. They are parents. They are people who are working 12-hour days. They are nurses. They are, therapists. They are, I've even trained personal trainers, right? And that is the thing, guys. Personal trainers have trainers. It benefits everybody. That's why I hate it when people I'll get a lot of ex-athletes or people who used to play college ball or something and be like, oh, I don't need a trainer, man. I got it under control. I'm like, dude, if freaking Conor McGregor, if freaking Tom Brady, if the best athletes in the world get benefits from having coaches, I promise you will too. I promise. Every single freaking time. But anyways, I digress. That being said, a lot of the people I train are very busy. And so making fitness work into that schedule is a big priority for us because obviously you got to make sure you're doing this stuff or else you're just not going to have the results you guys want, right? So I wanted to make sure during this live stream, I'm going to go over the mindset shift that is going to be required for you to make this change. I'm also going to be doing some time audits on you guys, figuring out where you're having time leaks so that way you guys understand oh, this is where all my time is going that I could be getting this workout in. And that's when we're going to start fitting stuff in there. I'm also going to teach you guys what workout styles and what workout splits are going to be the most beneficial for getting the most done in the least amount of time. In fact, most of my clients are on this exact split right now, mainly because, again, they're busy people, just like a lot of you guys. A lot of you guys who watch my content are in that same bracket. Obviously, I got my clients from somewhere, which is a lot of my audience, right? So that being said, let's get into this thing, right? So let's start with the mindset shift. First off, you need to understand you have the same 24 hours in a day as I do, as someone you work with, and someone who is busier than you. And guys, if you think you're the busiest person on this planet, I promise you you're not, because you would be one of the richest people on this planet, and those people are there, okay? That being said, we need to understand, and they're making their fitness goals happen, right? We need to understand this is not a matter of making more time. We have to utilize the time we have. You have time, you have to make time. So what does that mean? You guys hear that said all the time, but what does that actually mean, right? It means you have to make this a priority, okay? I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. You have to make this a priority, okay? This isn't a hobby. This isn't something you're doing for fun. It can be fun. Work. The job that you go to, guys, it can be fun. Parenting can be fun. Is it supposed to be fun all the time? Hell no. You know it's not. A lot of you guys, as soon as I said that, you go, oh yeah, no. Right? So you got to remember this, because a lot of people don't think about that because they don't put this as a high priority list on their stuff. And you got to remember, most people struggle with this. Guys, if you don't prioritize this, you ain't making it, period. Straight up. You're thinking about getting into it because you think it's going to be like a hobby, and it's not a hobby, y'all. Going to the gym is not a hobby. People don't go there as a hobby. People go there so they don't spend the last 20 years of their life in a wheelchair. Okay, that's the reality. People go there so they don't die of, cardiovascular disease, right? People go there because they have diabetes and they have to control that shit because it's getting out of hand and they don't want to lose a foot, right? Okay. So you guys got to remember that this is not something you're doing for fun. This is something you have to prioritize. Otherwise, you will not do it, right? And the thing is, it is delayed gratification. That is something that we'll talk about later on. But that is something we have to have. We have to have the mindset shift of, what we're thinking in our head, which is, I don't have time, which is to the truth. And the truth is, you have time. You just have to make it a priority, right? You're not just losing fat. You're regaining capability. You're gaining athleticism. You're gaining energy for your life. You're going through your days and actually being able to feel like you have the energy to make it past 12 p.m. Okay? That is why you're showing up to the gym. Not because you want to look better in a mirror. We all want that, guys, but is it a need? Do you need that? Probably not. But all of you need to be able to walk for your kids and be able to have that cardiovascular health so you can play with your kids and not feel like you're running out of breath. Feel like you can walk upstairs at work and not feel like you're dying afterwards or having to cover up your pit stains because it's embarrassing, right? That's more of a need. Okay, so we got to remember this kind of thing. Like, guys, looking great is just a byproduct of doing the things you want to do. Looking great is just a byproduct of being a disciplined individual. Looking great is just a byproduct of showing the fuck up for yourself, right? Being confident is a byproduct of you showing up every single day. And these are all goals you want, but you don't understand that it's a byproduct of just doing what you're supposed to be doing. That's the reality here, guys. And so we have to have that mindset shift. Like, you have to prioritize this. And again, I'm going to go through this time audit real quick so we can knock out some areas where we can probably get this done, right? So, like, for example, here's a few different common time leaks I see with people, right? You're scrolling on social media right fucking now. Okay? Not that I don't love the fact that you are watching my stuff, right? But that being said, at the same freaking time, guys, if we don't get a hold of this and we don't actually start capping this off, and guys, you can actually go into your settings and see how much screen time you're looking at your stuff a day. Okay? This only takes 30 to 45 minutes. There are multiple people in my program that are on 30 to 45 minute workouts a day. And we're only doing that 3 days a week. And then the rest, we're just trying to hit our daily step goal and focus on our diet. That's how you get the crazy results you guys are seeing. Now, these are my results, wherever the hell I'm pointing here. Instagram, you won't be able to see it. If you guys want to see that, go over to the YouTube or TikTok. But that being said, this is going to take to a whole, I can't even point at it right. But whatever you're seeing over here, I guess over here, I can't even point at it the right way. I don't even know what angle I'm looking at here. But anyways, you guys see the picture, right? Getting those results are a different story. You got to take things to a different level, but it's still not that you got to spend more time on your fitness. You just got to make it more intense. And we do that with my training, right? We actually, if you ask any of my clients, they'll tell you the workouts get harder as we decrease the amount of time we're doing our workouts. Why? Because I take out a lot of rest time and I increase the intensity to a significant portion, right? So you're fucking drenched in 35 minutes and you're ready to go home and feed your family. Right? And so that's the way I like to go about this kind of thing, is we're not trying to make sure you're spending 2 hours in the fucking gym every day, guys. I'm trying to make sure that you are actually getting results and actually making this thing happen. And guys, when it comes down to being athletic, it's just about making sure you're doing the right things a few times a week, right? Besides the diet. The diet is something you have to do all the time, which we will do live streams on as well. But that being said, you have to make this a priority and make sure you're showing up for this stuff. All you need is 30 minutes to an hour, even just 3 to 4 days a week of being able to show up to the gym like that. That's plenty. A lot of you guys have it in your head is like you got to show up 5 days, go for at least an hour. Like you calm down, right? Like a big reason a lot of you guys are 50 pounds heavier than you want to be is because of the diet. So we got to start getting those down along with getting you in the gym as well. But that we can start with 3 days a week. And guys, I've had plenty of people drop over 50 pounds by going 3 days a week for 30 to 45 minutes at a time. I have multiple. You guys go look at my freaking client results. They're there. I mean, I don't have to really do much about it. They're there, right? I could name them, right? But that being said, you guys need to also understand the fact that like we got to start just showing up for the basic stuff, right? If you want to feel like you're in the best shape of your life, if you want to be able to start showing up for yourself, you got to make sure you're making this time, right? What about like watching TV after dinner time? That's another time leak. Some of you guys are what was that Love Island that came out not too long ago? Or what an hour a piece, an episode. What's more important, guys? Let's be real. I don't want to hear you saying this bullshit like excuse of like, oh, that's how me and my spouse spend time together. Well, guess what, buddy? You'll have more time in your life if you start showing up to the gym, because I guarantee you won't have as much time if you ignore your health and put that on the back burner, and then you end up getting a heart attack by the age of 50 because you're not paying attention to that. You wanted to watch Love Island with your girlfriend or wife or whatever, right? Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I'm not saying you can't do that stuff sometimes. I'm saying if that's getting in the way of the stuff that you need to make a priority, it's a problem. You guys see what I'm saying here? Like, that's a big, these are the leaks I'm talking about. Like, these are the sacrifices you have to be willing to make. And that's not a big sacrifice, guys. I understand it might not be what you want to do, but that's why we call it sacrifices, right? It's not what you want to do all the time, right? So we got to make sure we don't have that disconnect there. We have to remember priorities, dude. Like, this has got to be as important to you as showing up for your job. For real. Like, it's got to be that just as important for you. Why? Because it affects your job. Guys, you think you don't focus on this stuff that you're not going to have, like, I literally have had a client not too long ago, recently, throw their back out because they weren't paying attention. That's the reason they hit me up. They hit me up because they hurt their back and a whole bunch of other health problems started coming because they weren't paying attention to this. And so it quite literally was affecting their work because they weren't focused on their fitness. You guys see what I'm saying? It takes you out of work. This person literally had to take off work and go to the doctors and get on pain medication. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, that's a real thing. Like, and it's easy to not think about that when it's not happening to you. But just because it's not happening to you right now doesn't mean it won't happen to you. It's a matter of time. Guys, I have a reality to set in place for you guys. This is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when if you don't focus on this stuff. Okay, it's very simple. I've been doing this for too long to think any different. I've been doing it with myself for 15 years. I've been training people for 10. Like, it's just too freaking evident that this is going to bite you in the ass if you don't focus on this stuff, right? And I'm not here to just like knock anyone for not doing it. I don't care. You live your life, right? But I also know how bad it freaking feels when that happens. And I don't want you guys living that life because I used to live that life. You guys see that picture right there? I used to be 300 freaking pounds, dude. I know what it feels like. I do know what it feels like. I'm a trainer who has been there, right? I've also seen the other side, and I promise you it is so much fucking better. There's no doubt. There's no doubt in my mind, okay? So we got to make sure, like, my mission is to try and make sure that we're getting there when you guys are ready, right? Because, of course, I'm not going to pull you through. I don't chase people down, right? I need to make sure that you guys are all about this shit. But let's get through these time audits. So, like, we got scrolling through social media. We got TV after dinner. And over way too long of a wind down after work. That's another huge one. Like, the big thing is you get so wound down, you end up sitting on the couch. You should not be doing that. If you have not gone to the gym yet, don't sit on the couch. I promise you won't get up. You won't. You're going to get comfortable. The excuses are going to start coming, and you're going to succumb to it. It happens to me. If it happens to me, I promise it's going to happen to you. And I'm someone who's very disciplined about this stuff. But I'm a human fucking being just like you guys, right? Like, you guys got to remember, like, don't let your ego tell you that you're better than you are, because I promise you it's going to humble you. It's going to humble you so fucking fast. Because the next time you look into a mirror and you look at your body and you're like, oh my God, I don't like what I see, you're going to be thinking about that time you sat on the couch instead of going to the gym, dude. You're going to think about it every single freaking time. So, like, make sure we're not having that disconnect there, because it will bite you in the butt severely. We got to make sure we're staying on point there. Another one, again, is inefficient gym sessions, right? Like, there are people who are like trying to spend hours and hours and hours in the gym, and that's why they're only making it like once or twice a week. right? Like you don't have to do that. You only need to spend 30 to 45 minutes. And then, because I literally got off the phone call with someone the other day who was wanting to start off with like an hour and a half workouts. And I was like, dude, no, you're not even going to the gym now. Why would you start with that? Right? So like, I think a big thing here is to have a solid game plan, right? Have a set time in place that you're going to the gym and then get that shit done. And guys, there's no excuse for not being able to do that at least 3 times a week. Okay. We got to make sure we're doing that because it should be a priority on your checklist. Even if you are working 12 hours a day, you're roughly sleeping like eight of those hours. That leaves you roughly 3 to 4 hours of still stuff that can be done. And I'm only asking for 30 minutes of that 3 times a week. Do you see what I'm saying? So you got to make it a priority and it's got to be fit in. It doesn't matter if it blends into your de-stress time or whatever the case, because I promise you, you're going to be more stressed out if you don't focus on this stuff. It hits you every single freaking time. So we got to make sure that we are actually focusing on this stuff and not like throwing that to the wind. I promise it'll bite you in the butt every single time. Right? So now that we got some of those time audits out of the way, let me go ahead and go over like some of the stuff I do with my clients to go ahead and make sure that we can make this happen. Right? So like a big thing is, again, keep these workouts short and sweet. You do not have to spend a lot of time in the gym. Okay, the workouts are super freaking important. Do not get me wrong, guys. But that being said, if you're spending hours and hours and hours and hours all the time, you are not going to be consistent with that shit, okay? That's fine if you do what I do, right? It's literally my job to be in the gym because I got to go record content for you guys. That's how a lot of you guys even know who I am. It's because I record content, right? So like, it's different for me. Like, this is literally my job. But on the other hand, the big thing you guys have got to understand here is that like we need to learn how to work out efficiently. So what I do with my clients is we also do full body workouts. I've done content on this. I need to do more content on this for you guys, but this is how we get things done more efficiently. Why? Because if you miss a day by chance, you're still going to hit all your muscle groups. You're not going to miss out on a muscle group. 1. 2, you're going to burn a lot more body fat and you're going to hit a lot more muscle groups in that workout. 3, you're not going to be as sore the next day. When you're just doing leg workouts, not that I don't love those splits, but guys, if you're not showing up 6 days a week, there's no reason for you to split up your workouts. There's literally no reason for you to split up your workouts. You're not going enough. And again, a lot of you guys are training for functional strength. A lot of you guys are not here to be bodybuilders, right? You're just wanting to lose 50 pounds so you can be functional again, be there for your family, be able to provide. You want to be fit again. You want to feel like you used to back in the day when you played sports in high school or you played sports in college, or you want to be able to get into the best shape of your life now, and you want to be athletic, not a bodybuilder who's moving slow and like a robot, right? You want to actually be able to move like a freaking MMA fighter. That's what we're here about, right? And so that being said, you got to stop training like a bodybuilder and doing these freaking like weird splits. Not that that's wrong, but like that's for bodybuilding, dude. That's a whole different sport. Not that there's anything wrong with bodybuilding, but like, dude, a lot of you guys don't give a shit about that and have you have no goals of competing in bodybuilding, right? Not to say that the dieting part's pretty good. I take a lot of that dieting stuff from bodybuilding and that's exactly the kind of stuff I do with my clients, except we put it more into a functionality degree. And again, it's more for athleticism and functionality. But that being said, guys, like the big thing you got to understand is like, there's no reason for you to have to train like that if you're not planning to be a bodybuilder. But the 6-day-a-week program, not to say, I train like 6-7 days a week. And it's not that I don't have my clients train that often, but the thing is you got to build up to that one. Like if you're starting off right off the bat with that, you're probably not going to stick to it at all. Right. Now, that being said, there are individuals out there who are freaks. I was one of those people. I was one of those people who did do that. But you got to understand, I was fucking sick and tired of being where I was, and I was ready to get the fuck after it. I was willing to make any sacrifice I was willing to do to get where I needed to go. It also took me 3 fucking years to do it, okay? I say, if you guys see that picture on the left right there, like where I'm really big, I'm 300 pounds. I was like that for a long time, and I was trying to lose weight for 3 fucking years. It took me a long time to figure out the whole dieting process, that all that stuff. And so just kind of keep that in mind, guys. I can't stress this enough. Diet is most of this process. Even if you're trying to focus on building muscle and strength, diet is most of this process. You need to have protein to rebuild your muscle, okay? You need to be able to make sure you're tracking calories to make sure you don't gain that body fat. And you need to make sure you're tracking calories to make sure you're eating enough so you don't lose your muscle, because that will drop your testosterone. A lot of people don't realize that. And I need to do more live streams on that as well. But that's something you guys need to understand is like, I don't do a lot of like splits with my clients unless they're training more than 6 days a week. If you're not training 6 days a week, I have you do full body workouts that are at max 45 minutes. We go from 3 to 5 days a week. Once you hit 5 days a week, we'll start discussing splitting things up once we hit that 6 day a week mark. Because once you hit 6 days a week, I do like to split it up for the sake of recovery. Obviously, for doing full, because the thing about full body, if you haven't done a full body workout, they're very freaking efficient. You feel wiped out after 45 minutes, and especially when you start introducing stuff like superset training, another thing you guys can implement that literally get twice the amount of workouts in half the time. If you guys don't know what superset training is, I've done posts about that. Cardio acceleration is the step above that. Guys, I wouldn't recommend doing that until you get a little bit more intermediate or advanced. Like that shit will kick your ass. It will. If you ask any of my clients who have done cardio acceleration, clients, if you're watching this, back me up on this. Like that is some rough shit. It is no joke, right? So like it's something you got to build your way up to. That being said, that kind of stuff, superset training into cardio acceleration, it's a big way how I reduce the amount of time, and full body workouts are a big way how I reduce the amount of time my clients are working out in half. And I get them more results, and I get them more fit, more athletic, more functional, more fit. They shrink body fat. They shred 50 pounds because we're able to actually shrink the amount of time they're working out, not increase the amount of time they're working out. And we're using stuff, like I said, full body workouts, cardio acceleration. We'll use stuff from CrossFit called metabolic conditioning. That's very good as well. We can actually get really extremely good workouts in like 20 to 30 minutes with metabolic conditioning. Those are also really good. But I don't like throwing people into those either because they'll fuck you up. And they can be a little bit more unsafe because they're speed based. So you got to have some knowledge there. And again, I've got to vet you into that before I just let my clients do that kind of stuff. But that being said, all of this stuff is there to say you don't need more time to fit in workouts, guys. You need to start prioritizing and setting aside time, at least an hour. I would say at least an hour. Right? So that way you have plenty of time to do what you want to do and not feel like you're getting rushed. Because again, guys, if you're busy, I promise you, you are not going to want to be in the mindset. And this stuff I talk about more with my clients and the mindset-based side of things. But like, you're not going to want to be starting your day rushing. It is not a good way to start your day. And I promise you, you're probably going to miss a lot of stuff that needs to get done, mainly because you're rushing and not paying attention to what needs to get done. Okay? So like, here's some ways we can kind of schedule these out. Because I know a lot of you guys are busy, but you may have some different stuff going on, and you might be going, Chase, you don't understand. I have such a crazy schedule. I promise you're not as special as you think. Okay, I've been training people for over a decade. I have a lot of different scenarios I've worked through. Here are just a few. If there's any out there you guys don't hear me talk about, let me know down below, okay? But 9 to 5 corporate jobs, as people usually know about, plus the family life, that's the normal, run-of-the-mill thing when it comes down to that fitness thing. If you're doing a 9 to 5 job, guys, you got to get those workouts done in the morning time, okay? You are not going to want to go ahead and get that workout done when you're done working. You're just not, because that's typically going to be family time when kids are out of school, wife's off work, or what, everyone's kind of, settling down for the day. You still need that family time. And you also are just like, you're less likely to show up to the gym. Now, can you do it? Yes, you absolutely can. I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying it's a lot less likely if you're already struggling with it now. I would get it done first thing in the morning, so that way it's done and you don't have to worry about it for the rest of the day, right? We got business owners like me with unpredictable hours. This is going to be something I'm going to be... And again, the reason I know a lot about this is because this is how my lifestyle is. Like, again, I'm a business owner, very unpredictable hours. That being said, my workout time is set in stone. I'm going to the gym right after this. If you guys watched my story yesterday, I actually just switched over my workout time to the morning time instead of the afternoon time because I felt like it wasn't working as well. And that's something I would recommend for my business owners and people who are like, who are not working that regular 9 to 5. Who are kind of making their own hours. But I definitely would recommend set a time for your workouts to make sure you're getting it done. Like, you have to set that time, right? Because if you're like me, you're incredibly busy all day. Like, for example, you guys know how I missed that live stream yesterday? I was still kind of figuring out where I wanted that time to be. And because I didn't have that set time for that live stream didn't get done for you guys, right? That's exactly what I'm talking about. If you do not set a time for things, you will not do it. And so, like, that's the biggest piece of advice I give you guys. You have to set a time, and you got to treat it like it's church time, right? Don't skip out on church. Like, straight up. And I'm saying that because a lot of you guys would never do that, or skip out on work, right? Like, if you were supposed to show up to work, or you're supposed to show up to a call at 8 a.m., by God, you better be there by 8 a.m., right? You got to treat this the exact same way. And that's what I mean. This is what I'm talking about. You got to put this high on your priority list, guys. It's going to help you in every way, shape, and form in your life. I promise you. In every way, shape, and form in your life. It's going to improve your relationships. It's going to improve your finances. It is going to improve your health, obviously. But it's mainly because you're focusing on your health. You feel better, so you work better, right? You feel better, so you're there more for your relationships. You're more disciplined. Right? All of these are traits that are going to help you in most ways of your life. So you have to prioritize this. This is why we call it discipline. You're showing up because you're staying disciplined. You got to remember to get the rewards afterwards. Delay that gratification, right? But again, it's really easy for business owners to put shit on the wayside because, like, no, it's all about the business. It's all about the business. It's all about the business. And even if it is all about the business does not function better if your health is worse. So you have to focus on that. And that's the reason you see all these entrepreneurs doing freaking workouts and having personal trainers and, like, actually showing up for their fitness, drinking their water, making sure they're not out drinking all the time. This is why you're seeing this. This is why you see all these very successful people focusing on their fitness. That's part of their success. Shocking, I know, but that is the truth, right? And then people will come at me and go, well, what about, like, Warren Buffett? Bro, if you want the body of Warren Buffett, be my fucking guest. Go for it, bro. That looks fucking awful. I have no desire for that. Dude's rich and banging, I'm sure. But, like, there's also other things in this life that I am actually chasing. I'm sure there's a lot of you that would agree to that same thing. If you just care about being rich, then yeah, I guess you're in the wrong place. Get out of here. like, dude, like, I would imagine a lot of you guys want a lot more things than just money, right? Probably a lot more time, for example. So this is how we make that kind of thing happen, right? So I want to go ahead and shift over to also shift workers, people who work night jobs or nurses or people who work overnights or early mornings. The big thing here is flexibility. So we just got to make sure, guys, that, like, we have to play around. The biggest thing for all of you guys I recommend is play around with this. Like, I'm just giving you guys tips and stuff to try, but you have to play around with this. See what feels the best. Try one of these out for 1 week. Try something else out the next week. But I will recommend for most of my shift workers who are, like, not getting off until the morning time, that is a time when I would recommend, like, working out after work. Why? It's just kind of hard to wake up at night and it still be dark and then go hit the gym and then immediately go into work. It's a weird way to start your day, I would imagine. Personally, if it was me, I would probably do it in the morning time. I say in the morning time, after work, whenever I get off. And then that way it's going to be pretty easy for me to go to sleep afterwards. And so that's just something I would recommend. But again, guys, this is why we call it personal training and when I do personal training. It's so personal. Like, I'm giving you guys recommendations. You guys really got to try this. It's your life, right? Like, you guys got to try this out, figure out what feels the best. And keep in mind, this is a priority, right? So, like, it's got to get done. But what time of day does it feel the best to get done? What time of day does it feel like it's not having any friction with other things, right? That's what's going to help you. So remember, the main takeaways here, guys, is don't be trying to fit in 2-hour workouts. Okay, we're talking 30 minutes, 3 times a week. That's all you freaking need, okay? Also, schedule the freaking workouts, guys. And here's the thing. Do not be moving these around throughout your day. Don't do one day I'm going to do it in the morning. Don't do the next day I'm going to do it in the afternoon because that's when I have the time. That's the exact thing that keeps people from actually showing the fuck up and getting this shit done. Okay, you got to do it at the same time every single day. Okay, now if you're switching that routine around and moving it to a different time of day, that's fine, but don't be doing that every day. Like, stick to something for a week, then try something else. That's another big tip. Like, because again, guys, you got to also take a little bit of discipline here. You are not going to love doing it all the time anyways. So keep that in mind, right? That being said, we got to figure out where it's having the less friction so we can show up more often and be more consistent so we can evolve from that standard, okay? And then obviously the big thing is just make sure, guys, you have to view this as a priority. This is going to help you in every way, shape, and form in your life. You have to make sure you are prioritizing it, and so that way you're showing up for yourself. And I promise you, if you make this a priority, It's going to pay off just like you get a paycheck for work, right? Like quite literally, it's just that you got to be able to put in the time and put in the hours and trust the freaking process. So I promise you guys, stick to this. Find the time, make the time, and show the fuck up for yourself. If you guys are struggling in any way, shape, or form, remember we are doing a 5-day challenge right now for you guys to try my training for free, get you on a good workout program, get you on some nutrition guidance so you can understand what you need to be doing with that nutrition. And at the end of that, someone's going to win $100 freaking of the challenge. So if you guys want more details on that, DM me challenge so I can go ahead and get you guys involved on that. And then, of course, I will be talking to you guys soon. We'll be going live again like this on Saturday. I don't know for sure if we're going to be going live at like 7 a.m. because it's going to be Saturday. So I don't know if you guys are even going to be awake. We might try doing 9 a.m. on Saturdays. I don't know. I'll see. We're going to definitely start doing them on Saturdays for sure, though. I want to make sure we're getting you guys some value. But I'll see you guys on the next one.